there's one more thing to do. Everything's going to pretty much be the same. It's easy, it's not hard, but there's one part that gets a little bit tricky, so I want to explain this. If you are going from the formula to the name, all you have to do is write the name of the metal, and then you're going to use what is called a plus chart to figure out which Roman numeral it is. And we'll talk about this after. The first ones we're going to do, we're going from the name to the formula. You're going to write the names of the element with their charges above, and we're going to do what we did before. Everybody say it with me. Crisscross, absolute, reduce. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to write chromium, and chromium is Cr. This right here is not how many chromiums you have, it is the charge. And the thing with chromium is if we look at the periodic table, chromium can either have a charge of 3, 6, or 2. The ones that we did before had a fixed charge. In other words, there was only one number written. So if we look, we even did zinc. Zinc, even though it's a transition metal, it still only has one charge. So that would be considered fixed. If it's fixed, you don't use a Roman numeral. If it's variable, then you'll either be given the Roman numeral or you have to find it, okay? So I'm going to explain this in just a second here. All right, so they're giving you the charge, and now I'm just going to write sulfide, same as what we did before. I'm going to write an S, and the charge of sulfur is under oxygen. Anybody know what oxygens or sulfurs is? -2. And now I'm going to crisscross absolute reduce, okay? So the 2 is going to go down there, and the 3 is going to go there, and we're done. You can rewrite it if you want, Cr2S3. That would be how it would be on paper or on a computer's program or something like that. Let's try the next one, B. Lead 4 oxide. So I'm going to first write Pb, okay? What is this for? Oh, you know what? Let's go through the Roman numerals real quick. 1, 2, 3. IV, so those are easy. 1, 2, 3. V is a 5, okay? If the 1 comes before, that means it's 1 less than 5, which would be 4. If the 1 comes after, then 5 plus 1 gives you 6. If it's 2 after, then it's 5 plus 2, which gives you 7. And now we've got 5 plus 3, which gives you 8. X is 10, so 1 less than X would be 9. Okay? We're really only going to get up to 7. That's as high as the charges go on the periodic table anyway. So the highest that we'll get to is 7, but I want to make sure you need to know your Roman numerals. Otherwise, you might think it's a 4, but it's a 6, and it'll mess you up when you go to name the substance. Okay? So, Pb, what is this then? It's 1 less than 5. What would that be? 4. Where does this number go? On top. Right. That's the charge of the lead. You can see that they're connected. Okay? Typically, when they're written, the parentheses they're written right after the metal because it is the charge of the metal, not of the nonmetal. Oxide. What's oxygen's charge, everybody? -2. So now I'm going to crisscross, absolute value, reduce. If I crisscross, I get a 2 and a 4. Can you reduce it?
Yeah.
To what? 1 and 2. Remember, you can divide both of them by 2, so I'm going to get a 1 and a 2, and my final answer would be PbO2. Okay, let's try the next one. Cobalt 3 chloride. So I've got CO. Where does the 3 go? On top. All right, and so then what's chloride? Cl, and the charge, if you remember like Club Chem, it's -1. So if you crisscross this, you're going to get COCl3. Now this seems like it's a lot easier than even doing the other one because we don't even have to look up the metal's charge. They're telling us what it is. But it will get a little bit harder, and I'll show you why. So now we've got nickel, Ni, with the 2, and phosphide. What's phosphide? P, -3. If you don't know where we're getting these charges from, all you need to do is look at your periodic table. So we wrote them right at the top of the family. So we said 0, -1, -2, -3, and -4. So if you're confused on that, that's all that was. So now I'm going to crisscross, and I get a 3 and 2. Perfect. So if you wanted to rewrite it, it would be Ni3P2 because we only want to know the number of atoms. The charge you don't have to show in the formula, okay? So now flip to the next page. What happens if you go backwards, all right? This is a little more intense. So let's start off with PtCl2, okay? So what's PT, please? Have it? Platinum. Platinum. And next person, what is Cl? Chloride. Next person, what is Au? Gold. Next person, what's Br? So you would end it as bromide. Good. Leave a space in here. Leave a little bit of a space in here. Next person, what is Cr? Chromium. Leave a space. Next person, what is N? Nitride. Okay, let's stop right there. So far, this was really easy, yes?
Yes.
The problem is, if you check the metal, these all have a variable charge on the metal. And if the metal has a variable charge, in other words, when you look at X, whatever it is, if it has more than one number on there, that's called variable. If there's only one number, it's called fixed, okay? If it's variable, we need to figure out which Roman numeral it is. Now, usually, you can look at the 2 numbers or the 3 numbers, and you can get it real quick as to if one of them is gaining so many electrons, it's pretty easy to figure out how much the other one's losing. Remember, it has to be neutral. It must be neutral. So, here's what I'm going to do. I call it a plus chart. Okay, I call it a plus chart. And the way it's going to work is, let's say that I had something like X3, Y2, and my possible charges were 3, 6, 4, 2, and up here my charge of Y is my nonmetal. Let's say that this is a -3. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a plus chart in between the 2 elements that I have. Okay? I'm going to put a little plus chart in there. And then, you know when you multiply 2 things together, we call that not the sum, but the product of it? So what I want to do is I want to get the product of these 2 together, and this product is going to be negative in this case. Then I'm going to get the product of these 2 together, and this product of these 2 together is actually going to be positive because the metal is losing and the nonmetal is gaining. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I don't know this, so it's almost like calling it X. X is one of these kind of, okay? So I don't know what that is. But I do know these 2. So if I multiply -3 times 2, I get -6. And on this side, it would be equal to, well, if they're neutral, then if that's gaining 6 electrons, then this side must be losing 6. So this has to be a +6. One of these numbers times 3 equals 6. Which number is it? 2. So what you would do is you would write whatever X is the name of it, you would write Roman numeral 2 and then write the ending. Okay? Now, some people will say, can't you just uncrisscross applesauce? It doesn't always work. 80% of the time, but we want to be 100% right. Okay? So it doesn't work all the time. So let's try this out and see what happens. In this case, if we were to guess this, what would you guess that platinum's charge was?
2.
A 2. Let's just double check it. So I'm going to do a plus chart. So I want you to find platinum and tell me what the possible charges are for platinum on the periodic table. So it's number 78.
4 and 2.
4 and 2. Perfect. So we're going to write a 4 and a 2 up here. Those are our choices. Next person. Find chlorine. Got it. -1. So we're going to go -1 times 2 is? -2. So then this other side must be equal to it, but positive, so +2. So then which one of these, now if there's no number written, it's taken to be a 1. So which one of these times 1 equals 2? 2. We got it. So it's platinum 2 in parentheses, and it goes with the platinum chloride. Let's try the next one. Gold. Okay. So in this case here, it looks like it would be what charge? 1. Let's check it. Okay. Plus sign. So gold can either be
3 and 1.
3 and 1. And next person, what's bromine? It's in the same family as chlorine, -1. There's a 1 there and a 1 there because there's no other number. So if you multiply these, you get a -1. This must be a +1. Which one of these times 1 equals 1? 1. Roman numeral 1. Watch what happens on the next one, though. What does it look like this number would be? 1. It's not. It's not, okay? So, I'm going to do my plus chart. Next person, what are the charges of chromium, please?
3, 6, and 2.
3, 6, and 2. Next person, what's nitrogen?
-3.
-3. I only have one of each one. -3 times 1 is -3, so this side must be a +3. What times 1 equals +3? 3. 1 wasn't even an option. 1 was not an option. So uncrisscross doesn't always work. If your nonmetal doesn't have a charge of 1, -1, then it doesn't work. This one we're going to use Fr, +1. Francium does not have a variable charge, so guess how you would name this? Francium sulfide, and you're done.
Wait, why?
Why? Because it has a fixed charge. Fixed charge on the metal, meaning it only has one number above the symbol, does not get a Roman numeral. Okay, no Roman numeral. Let's try the next one.
Okay, 4 and 2.
Awesome. And next person, what is phosphorus?
Phosphorus is -3.
Awesome, -3. Multiply these, we get a -6. So this side is a +6. Which one times 3 equals +6?
2.
2. So this would be written as tin, parentheses 2, and then P is phosphide. Okay, last one is SN we already did, so we're just going to do it again. It's a 4 and a 2. Okay, next person, what is oxygen? Oxygen's charge? -2. There's only one of each one of them, if there's no number written down at the bottom. So that's a -2, so this side is a +2. What times 1 equals 2? 2. So this again would be tin, 2, oxide. And that's it for naming the variable charge metals.